Hi. Did everyone get a good night of sleep last night? I did. I hope a lot of other people did too. I know it can be difficult to be able to get a good night of sleep. I'm always grateful when I do. There have been periods of time where I had insomnia really bad. So if you are dealing with insomnia, I hope that it resolves quickly. We finally heard from God Himself yesterday in the book of Job. And now we're going to finish off this book, the final part of God's response. And then Job says something back to God. And then we'll see how all of this resolves. A lot of this has just been discourse between Job and his friends. It's very interesting because it does cause one to think about how we perceive God, how we perceive God's judgment, how we perceive the ways in which God influences our lives, or whether that is what is happening or not. Again, the Lord answered Job out of the whirlwind and said, so this is chapter 40, "Gird up now thy loins like a man. I will demand of thee, and declare thou unto me. Wilt thou disannul my judgment, or wilt thou condemn me, that thou mayst be justified? Or hast thou an arm like God, or doest thou thunder with a voice like him? Deck thyself now with majesty and excellency, and array thyself with beauty and glory. Cast abroad the indignation of thy wrath, and behold every one that is proud, and abase him. Look on every one that is arrogant, and bring him low, and destroy the wicked in their place. Hide them in the dust together, and bind their faces in a secret place. Then will I confess unto thee also that thy right hand can save thee. Behold now Behemoth, whom I made with thee, which eateth grass as an ox. Behold now, his strength is in his loins, and his force is in the navel of his belly. When he taketh pleasure, his tail is like a cedar. The sinews of his stones are wrapped together. His bones are like staves of brass, and his small bones like staves of iron. He is the chief of the ways of God. He that made him will make his sword to approach unto him. Behold now Behemoth, which eats grass as an ox. Behold now his strength is in his loins, and his force is in the navel of his belly. He is the chief of the ways of God. He that made him will make his sword to approach unto him. Surely the mountains bring him forth grass, where all the beasts of the field play. So now he's talking about Behemoth, and this being his chief among his creations, perhaps. Lieth he under the trees in the covert of the reed and fens? Can the trees cover him with their shadow, or can the willows of the river compass him about? Behold, he spoileth the river, and hasteth not. He trusteth that he can draw up Jordan into his mouth. He taketh it with his eyes, and thrusteth his nose through whatsoever meeteth him. Canst thou draw out Leviathan with an hook and with a line, which thou shalt cast down unto his tongue? Canst thou cast a hook into his nose? Canst thou pierce his jaws with an angle? Will he make many prayers unto thee, or speak thee fair? Will he make a covenant with thee, and wilt thou take him as a servant forever? Wilt thou play with him as with a bird, or wilt thou bind him for thy maids? Shall the companions banquet with him? Shall they divide him among the merchants? Canst thou fill the basket with his skin, or the fish pannier with his head? Lay thine hand upon him, remember the battle, and do no more so. Behold, his hope is in vain, for shall not one perish even at the sight of him. So he's now talking about beings which are slightly less large than God, Behemoth and Leviathan, and is saying to effect basically that even these creatures are too much for you, a mere mortal, to handle. None is so fierce that dare stir him up. Who is he then that can stand before me? Who hath prevented me that I should make an end? All under heaven is mine. I will not keep silence concerning his parts, nor his power, nor his comely proportion. Who can discover the face of his garment? Or who shall come to him with a double bridle? Who shall open the doors of his face? His teeth are fearful round about. The majesty of his scales is like strong shields, and are sure sealed. One is set to another, that no wind can come between them. One is joined to another, they stick together, that they cannot be sundered. His neesings make the light to shine, and his eyes are like the eyelids of the morning. Out of his mouth go lamps, and sparks of fire leap out. Out of his nostrils cometh out smoke, as out of a boiling pot or cauldron. His breath maketh the coals burn, for a flame goeth out of his mouth. In his neck remaineth strength, and labor is rejected before his face. The members of his body are joined, they are strong in themselves and cannot be moved. His heart is as strong as a stone, and as hard as the nether millstone. The mighty are afraid of his majesty, and for fear they faint in themselves. When the sword doeth touch him, he will not rise up, nor for the spear, dart nor habergon. That's like some kind of weapon, I'm sorry. I didn't say that word correctly. I'm not sure what it means. It's like some kind of, I think, thrown weapon, like a spear. He esteemeth iron as straw, and brass as rotten wood. The archer cannot make him flee. Ye stones of the sling are turned into stubble unto him. The darts are counted as straw, and he laugheth at the shaking of the spear. Sharp stones are under him, and he spreadeth sharp things upon the mire. He maketh the depth to boil like a pot, and maketh the sea like a pot of ointment. He maketh a path to shine after him. One would think the depth as an hoar-head. In the earth there is none like him. He is made without fear. He beholdeth all high things. He is a king over all the children of pride. So these are God's creations, but they also are kind of demonic in nature and do have a level of dominion over man. Then Job answered the Lord and said, I know that thou canst do all things, and that there is no thought hid from thee. Who is he that hideth counsel without knowledge? Therefore have I spoken that I understood not, even things too wonderful for me which I knew not. Hear, I beseech thee, and I will speak. I will demand of thee, and declare thou unto me. I have heard of thee by the hearing of the ear, but now mine eye seeth thee. Therefore I abhor myself, and repent in dust and ashes. So that's kind of been Job's attitude the whole time, is just that he's been so incredibly unworthy, and now he is suffering, and his unworthiness compounds his suffering. Now after the Lord had spoken these words unto Job, ye Lord also said unto Eliphaz ye Temanite, My wrath is kindled against thee and against thy two friends, for ye have not spoken of me the thing that is right, like my servant Job. Therefore take unto you now 7 bullocks and 7 rams, and go to my servant Job, and offer up for yourselves a burnt offering, and my servant Job shall pray for you, for I will accept him, lest I should put you to shame, because ye have not spoken of me the thing which is right, like my servant Job. So Eliphaz the Temanite, and Bildad the Shuhite, and Zophar the Naamathite went and did according as the Lord had said unto them. And the Lord accepted Job. Then the Lord turned the captivity of Job when he prayed for his friends. Also the Lord gave Job twice so much as he had before. Then came unto him all his brethren, and all his sisters, and all they that had been of his acquaintance before, and did eat bread with him in his house, and had compassion of him, and comforted him for all the evil that the Lord had brought upon him. Tricky language, that. And every man gave him a piece of money, and every one an earring of gold. So the Lord blessed the last days of Job more than the first, for he had 14,000 sheep, and 6,000 camels, and 1,000 yoke of oxen, and 1,000 she-asses. He also had 7 sons and 3 daughters, and he called the name of one Jemimah, and the name of the second Keziah, and the name of the third Karen Happuch. In all the land were no women found so fair as the daughters of Job, and their father gave them inheritance among their brethren. And after this lived Job 140 years, and saw his sons and his sons' sons, even 4 generations. So Job died, being old and full of days. So he went on and did great things after this particularly dark chapter of his life. And in fact, comparatively to some of the things which have happened to other people in the Bible, it wasn't like literally the worst thing that could happen ever, but it was really bad. And a lot of us, I think, are go through dark chapters in our lives from time to time. Maybe this time being exceptionally thus. And it's interesting to see how people react to hardship in others' lives. Some people are very judgmental about it. Some people really don't understand what it takes to get out of a bad situation. There also is the aspect, too, I'm sure a lot of you have heard of, people going and getting people fired by going through their social media and, sending posts to your job. And all of that can be faked, too. So if somebody doesn't like you for whatever reason, they can literally just make something up and send it to your place of work. There's all kinds of stuff that gets fabricated and put online. And that's a big reason why I haven't been going on social media as much, because all of this stuff just being fabricated and put online, I don't want to deal with it. It's very boring to me that people would do that. And it's literally infiltrated my dreams. I had a dream about something called the steak challenge, where you put a slab of meat in your refrigerator for 7 days and don't eat it. And so people were doing all of these ridiculous things, including injecting the meat with drugs and stuff to keep from eating it. And I hate that I had a dream about that, because that type of behavior is so abhorrent to me. I think it's awful that people live that way. And that particular instance was not real, but it is based on things that people do post on social media. And as much as I try to avoid it, if you disconnect fully from that, then you're very isolated. So it's been very tricky to try to figure out how to navigate this in a way that I feel like is authentic to myself. And if you do navigate these things in a way that is authentic to yourself, the likelihood of you being successful in that medium is greatly reduced, because people are not looking for that. They're looking for performative, not even a great performance. They're looking for something to be performative. And there's very little substance left in the current environment. And it's frustrating. And I just don't see a place for myself within that system. So, I'm just going to keep pressing forward and trying to figure out, by each day, how to move forward. These things cannot persist forever. It's not a very sustainable way of doing things anyhow. So I do have confidence that at some point it will collapse and something else will replace it. And I can only hope that what replaces it will be better. And if you're one of those people who posts things like that on social media, I really hope that you will reconsider the direction that you've taken with your life and consider moving forward, being more authentic to yourself. And if you feel like that is authentic to yourself, I am truly and gravely sorry. That this world has failed you. On that note, I hope that all of you enjoy your Passion Week leading up to Easter. I don't know what you guys have planned for Easter. I'm probably going to be going to church a lot this week. And my real life circles, surrounding myself with people in real life that I feel like we have authentic connections and that their intentions for me are generally positive. I do think that the potential exists for online spaces to be a good way to connect with others, but not in this time and not in this way. I will continue to periodically post videos, but I'm sure a lot of you are aware that my previous channel, Pale Threshold, is demonetized. And because I wasn't keeping up with upload schedule, because it was no longer authentic to what was going on in my life. And I will post things on there, especially about, I do talk about politics on here, but I don't post some of the more potentially polarizing things that I feel like it's important to say. I wish that I did not have to be the one to say them. But if I don't see anyone else talking about it, then I have to say something. But I hope that all of you have a great week and stay blessed. And God bless all of you. And I'll see you very soon.